Welcome to today's episode of Print to Pixel, the podcast where we talk to marketing leaders and technologists about how omnichannel marketing is revolutionizing the way direct mail and digital marketing are used together. My name is Dennis Kelly. I'm the CEO of Postalytics, the leading direct mail automation platform that makes direct mail as easy as email marketing. I'm excited today to introduce Charly Jarrett to the show. Charly is the digital nonprofit specialist and senior consultant at Hewitt & Johnson Consulting, or HJC. HJC is a digital fundraising agency that has been serving nonprofits over 2 decades. From the largest charities in the world to the little guys around the corner, they've engineered some of the best online fundraising strategies, run award-winning digital media campaigns, built organizational websites, implemented underlying donation, P2P, and CRM platforms for clients across the globe. Charly has dedicated her career to the nonprofit sector, serving a variety of roles, from events to online fundraising and direct response marketing. She's passionate about the use of AI in the nonprofit world and is a well-known speaker about the use of AI in digital fundraising for nonprofits. Welcome, Charly.
Thank you, Dennis. It's really exciting to be here. I can't wait to nerd out with you.
I love it. That's what we're all about here at Print to Pixel. Nerding out about marketing tech, AI, you got it. So, Charly, you've had a wide variety of experiences in the marketing and fundraising for nonprofits over the course of your career. Walk us through how you got to this point in your career and how your different roles have impacted your current point of view on the use of AI in fundraising, and then how does that translate into a role at HJC?
Yeah, I have a very personal story here. I went to school, I was in university, planned to go into video gaming, always been a big nerd that way. And then my mom got cancer, and I had the privilege of taking care of her before we lost her, and that meant a lot to me. And then after we lost her, about a year later, I got cancer as well. All good in remission now, but in that experience, I was like, F this, and I was like, bring on the fundraising. So I went immediately, found a job with BC Cancer Foundation, and went right into it, was determined, was lucky enough to work in events there. And then it moved into my second passion, and something that really helped me through everything was animals. My dog was a big part of getting through everything. And so I was lucky enough to work at BC SPCA for 10 years, bringing along their digital program. For when I started, it was about $1 million, and then we added $1 million every single year up to 10 million. And that was a major achievement. And they have, every year I brought in something new and was just constantly following the for-profit sector, which a lot of us think like, oh, what are the big boys doing? And what are all the nonprofits doing at the top? But they don't have the R&D budgets that for-profits do. So if we're following, those checkouts now, there's so many amazing fundraising platforms that are just really adapted the for-profit checkout. And we're about 5 years behind, I find, in all of the access we have, because we don't have the budgets and we're not following the lead of for-profit, just because for some reason, doesn't really occur. People don't think it can adapt, but it really can. In fundraising, we're selling a product as well. It's just that we have the best product of all, which is feeling great about yourself, and getting connected to the thing you're passionate about. So now, with the opportunity what AI has brought, I've really wanted to work with charities to bring that into the workplace and all its opportunities. So working with consulting now, and it's really great to see all the different ways charities are bringing it in.
That's great. So you've really embraced kind of the new thing, the thing that is right around the corner for a long time, and this is obviously such a massive transformational technology. And I think that's really well recognized. I think if you were to poll people and ask them, is AI, something that's going to fade away, or is this something that is truly transformational? I think most people would say, it's truly transformational, but I have a lot of concerns about it. And so, obviously anytime there's a fundamental change, there's a lot of natural fears that can happen. So what are some of the fears that you see nonprofits voicing when you speak with nonprofits? And then how do you talk about those fears and ways to address them?
Across the sector, there's, of course, we're a nonprofit, so the environmental impact is a big one. A lot of them are just, saying immediately, no, we see how much energy it's taking. We absolutely cannot use it off the bat. And I look at them and I say, how much energy do you think the internet takes across globally? Thinking about that, and then you did buy in, and the earlier nonprofit bought in that earlier the benefits. So we don't really have control on these little small scales. Everyone thinks like, oh, at a small scale, I have all this, I have all of this, I can recycle and I can do this and I can do that. And if you look at the whole thing as a bigger picture, your footprint, your environmental footprint is actually, it was a marketing tool to put it off companies and onto individuals. And so as an individual, we have really little control. And the most control you have is voting your conscience. That is the way we're going to impact. We don't really have control whether this comes in or not. And if you embrace it early, you're going to have a lot more. And especially if you're in the mission, and we're talking about safety, about putting stuff in, but I tell charities it behooves you to share everything with AI, because if you're putting quality stuff in, if you really believe in your mission, that's, people are saying garbage in, garbage out, but if you're putting quality in and you really believe in your mission, that means other charities, other people that are aiming to do the same thing are going to have more of that information available. So if you want to buy in, it's really important to do it now. The earlier, the better, and to maybe put in a little bit more political action and encourage your staff, because that is going to be the only thing. Secondly, we'll move into safety. That's a huge concern for nonprofits. And the thing I always say is, if your policies don't cover right now, if your digital policies and your safety policies don't cover right now the safety that for your data to use AI, then your policies are wrong to begin with. They're not safe enough to begin with. And the biggest safety concern you have to have, above all, is people. People are the ones that make the mistakes. So if you're not doing something monthly to remind everyone about just phishing is going to get more and more complex. It's going to, you're going to get a call that sounds exactly like your boss. You're going to get all those things. So having those verification words now and alternating through having additional standards around people is it's a people first safety policy that you need to look at. And then sharing your data, I've already said that, but any proprietary, obviously, you should never, ever be putting in people's data. You should always be anonymized. Every person has an ID number. Use that. It's great. Don't put people's data in there. You don't need to. But anonymized data, you're going to get so much information. You're going to know, you can put it all in, what you have anonymously, and be like, what am I missing? What do I need to know from this data? I have no idea. Most people are not data experts and they just don't know anything. And the beauty with the plain language LLM model is you can just put it in there and be like, explain this to me. I don't know what I'm doing. So you really, you just have to get started and you'll learn. It's really a teacher. And I know I have friends, I'm neurodiverse, and my neurodiverse friends were constantly talking about it because we can really work through a lot of problems other people can work through, and we need a little bit of different ways of absorbing things. So it's amazing for people with disabilities as well. It's just really, really fantastic tool, and the way you can learn. Everyone can learn the way they want to learn now.
Yeah, that's a really interesting way of thinking about it, and I haven't heard that before, but it makes perfect sense. My own little anecdote. So we at Postalytics use HubSpot, as kind of our core marketing automation CRM tool. And they've rolled out several different AI assistants in the most recent set of updates. And, one of the things that I always find frustrating, because I don't know the underlying data model by like the back of my hand, I want to pull up a report about something. I don't know the name of the field and where exactly what object it's in. And so they have this cool new report writer. I can just type in or say, give me a report of all of the deals that are going to close in the next quarter, ordered by, biggest deal to smallest deal. And boom, it goes and it pulls all that data together for me. Yeah. It's so cool. And so I think to your point about sort of helping neurodiverse people think through different ways of accessing content and learning, it can be such a powerful tool.
It's such a powerful tool. Yeah. But, for organizations that serve disabled communities or differently abled communities, is such, it's even more important for them to embrace it early and access and learning. I recently spoke at a government of the Vancouver Island Economic Forum, and it's a lot of older people in their community, and really also empowering them with the tools is very, very important. So looking at it from an actual government perspective, and the safety of their community is really important with that fishing as well. So every kind of organization at every level really needs to look at that.
Yeah. Very interesting. So let's drill in a little bit more on, how do you see AI impacting the way that nonprofits go about their fundraising? And if, you were a nonprofit executive that is sort of thinking about, all right, we're heading into 2025. I'm hearing all about AI constantly. How should that nonprofit executive be thinking? And, what are the areas that you would advise them to focus on?
Oh, well, firstly, I would do a survey immediately that asks your staff, how are you using this? Because they definitely are. They're absolutely using it. And getting that information back will help you immediately put in safety measures. Re-looking at your digital policy or data policies. Hopefully they already cover these things, but maybe putting in more specifics about, making sure how to anonymize data and all of that information. And the wonderful thing about ChatGPT, or I love Claude personally, is you can be like, how do I write this policy? Can you write this policy for me? It's so good at those kind of more mundane. Sorry, HR people. Oh, I do have a puppy here. I don't know if you'll hear him.
We love puppies on Print to Pixel. It's a lot of P words.
So looking at what are they doing? That will be the first thing. And then the second question you have to ask is, what do you hate doing? That is such an important thing, because the fear, again, going back to that fear, people fear for their jobs. They think it's coming for their jobs. And that's one level of fear beyond just having to learn another thing. It is a way to talk to them about how we want to create space for you. You've hired them. Executives have hired these people because they're good at their jobs. They're passionate about their jobs and all the things that they're good at. You want to make more time for those things. Everything that like LLMs, I'll say ChatGPT a lot, but I mean kind of the big one. That's just the one everyone knows. Is that because it's aggregate data, it's always going to push out mid stuff, right? As the kids say. It's all very mid because it's doing it has all the stuff and it kind of goes middle. So far, people, it's advancing constantly, but that's really what, like for copywriting especially, and it's just like constantly pushing out the same stuff for everyone, and you always want to differentiate your brand. So that's really important to say to your staff, let's talk about what you hate doing. Let's talk about automating that first and foremost. The things that take up those time. Expenses. For me, I only, for my expenses personally, I just get my receipt, snap it, and write into ChatGPT and I have a prompt that just says, add this to the ongoing spreadsheet that I have. And then that's and I have a picture of the receipt now. So I have everything documented that I can pull up and everything's done for me. So that takes how much less time than filing your receipts and getting around to it, and just the procrastination and the exhaustion around that. Simple things like that, and creating, different ways to say, we're all going to do it like this. That's really great. And of course, talking to HR first thing is really, really important, because one, all the things that maybe they haven't had time to do, updating those job descriptions and all the different things. People can say, you can just ask like, oh, what do you do all day? Like, tell me like the 10 things you do the most in a day from your staff and then from HR, and they can update all those. They can just boop, 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 like update the job description according to this email. Done. It's really, really simple. And constantly HR, I know I've always had good friends in HR, so as you should, everyone should make friends with HR. If you're lucky enough to have an HR, I know lots of nonprofits don't, is the constant calls like, oh, I've forgotten how to put in for my holidays. I've forgotten this, I've forgotten that. If you upload all of your policies, which are, you don't have to worry. If you're on, of course, everyone should have the paid version. If you're on the paid version, it actually doesn't go in. You're not sharing the other things. So stuff you want to share, free version, stuff you don't want to share, paid version. It's that simple. So just putting it all in a specific thread, and just say, people can go in, all your policies are uploaded, like, oh, I forgot how to input vacation. Can you tell me? Done. How much less workload is that for everyone? Everyone forgets how to do expenses. I know I'll say this again and again with expenses, but it's just the bane of my existence. But everyone forgets. Everyone on here has forgotten how to do it. I know everyone listening has. And just being able to be not that embarrassing email or call me, I forgot, can you send it to me again? You can just go boop, boop, boop for any policy. To have that freedom to have where people can just ask and find out things right away. Amazing, huge load off. So those things that are taking time and energy of your staff that they hate doing, that's where you want to lean into right away.
I love it. And we all hate things like doing expenses and, filing reports and, all of those things that are required from a kind of bureaucratic perspective, right? Or it feels like bureaucracy, whether it is or it isn't, right? That's kind of what it feels like. And so, freeing up the minds of the team to focus on things that are creative and focus on the things that they're really passionate about, the things that, you'll get the best work out of them on those things, right? Like that's I think a great way for executives to be thinking about this.
And
Very
that
cool.
question around what are you doing already, you're going to find the people that are looking at it in different ways, and really implementing is a great way to do from the bottom up and not the top down, because you probably, you have younger people at the bottom usually, and you're thinking much too big picture at the top usually. And with because all the small implementations are going to matter more and add up to that time that creates more space to do those bigger projects, really creating a monthly meeting with those power users, identifying power users in your organization, and creating a meeting. And then once a month you get together, what are the cool things that you figured out? And how can we implement them, or how can we share that and make it usable for everyone? So just that, identifying those power users, getting that together in the staff, and just creating, just even, half an hour a month will make all the difference to just share all of that information. Because if you're not sharing, nothing will be implemented.
Yeah, no, it's true. We've done something very similar at Postalytics. We're a software company, and so we have a lot of folks that are really interested in this stuff, but some far more so than others, right? Who have a lot of other things to do every day, and so we're doing a monthly what we call AI hackathon, where we've identified a few of the thought leaders in the company, and we break into teams, and we have a thought leader make a presentation, and then we do exercises where we're all practicing using AI to do some different things that one of the thought leaders has kind of driven on. And so it's been really impactful for us.
Yeah. And looking at it in action in your mission, looking at things you haven't been able to solve. There are really, there's stuff in your mission where I wish we could do this. How can I look at, and then using those things that are really difficult, looking at your budget and looking at the things you want to impact. Where can we move things around? What can we do? And then fundraising, of course, it's just so important to do all those targeting. And I think at Postalytics, you're probably really doing this, is looking at, where are we not getting any results? So you aren't wasting. It's no longer the spray and pray. It's the really narrowing down and messaging for specific people and really being able to look at that data in a really tangible and easier way where you can target, spend less, and do more. Oh, puppy. This is Emma.
What's the puppy's name?
Are you going to come over? No, she heard the dog upstairs, so she's having that situation, but she's completely blind and very sweet, 1 year old, and she's an absolute gem, fostering her. And I think she has a home potentially this weekend, so we're very excited for her. Everyone, fingers crossed for Emma.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes. Definitely fingers crossed for Emma. Cool. So drilling in on that, on the fundraising part a little bit, how would you advise a team in a nonprofit who is thinking about introducing AI into its fundraising strategy? Like, what would be kind of a starting point for?
So the first thing, and guaranteed a lot of your staff are already doing this, is for creative, they're looking at ideas and what different things they can do, or like getting off that blank page, trying to write copy, trying to hone in copy. That's the thing. And really, I think AI isn't great for that. I think getting off blank page, always good, or looking at a really fun prompt I like to encourage that they can work on is like uploading all of your best performing emails and then asking, what is the prompt that would create these emails? So reverse engineering to prompts is really a fun thing. So maybe hone it. It's really the prompting that you're going to get stuff out of. But that will only get you off blank page and will only come up with like the starting stuff. You're never going to get the skill and amazingness and imagination that humans have out of that, and the connection that they feel that comes out in the work that they're doing. So yeah, everyone, no one's a nonprofit because they're not passionate about it. So it's really important. But I see it a lot more in the data analytics is far more important in getting to know your data. So looking at, cost per acquisition is something a lot of people forget to look at because they're sometimes not looking at acquisition. And January is coming, start your acquisition schedule. If you're not acquiring every month, you're not going to grow. So yeah, looking at that, where is it really paying off long term? Because you can look at, oh God, these people cost $5 per acquisition. Like why? Or like $75. But is that paying off long? Now you can really look long term after 5 years. Is this person really paying off? Should we be targeting? Should we be doing that premium? So that is a major one you can really push in the data. Of course, you have to be recording everything. So make sure you're keeping all of those records. Cleaning up your data, of course, is a big one. Reorganizing and making sure and asking, like, am I recording even the right fields? A big one that people often don't record or have in for a dynamic content to put into emails is their spark point, which is the point of acquisition. So what did they come in on a petition that was about, I'm going to use animal welfare here, about horses. And so something about that really speaks to them and you need to talk to them from that spark point. Did they come in because of a dog seizure or, for fundraising? Because there was this massive media story because that, need to put that in that, spark point or source code is really, really important. So asking and looking at that, you're going to gain in your fundraising, because we've seen, if people segment by source code, segment by Spark Point, that can give you a 2 to 10% lift right there. So it's really, really valuable, and knowing, and just asking, learning about that, and like, okay, how can I make a lift? Like, what do I need to do to get a lift at the end of this year from my different fundraising? How should I segment? What's going to make the most difference? So really just asking and learning. I like to tell that, your R&D has never been so cheap, and your PD, your personal development has never been so cheap for organizations. If you're saying specifically spend 10 minutes a day that you don't have to pay for, except for like some staff time, way, way less expensive than sending to conferences or paying for courses. Just saying like, okay, spend 10 minutes a day on what you really want to know, or, half an hour a week, or whatever it is that you can afford, because you're freeing up time with their admin. They can allocate some more time to their personal development, and they're only going to bring more and more to their positions. So yeah, there's so many fundraising things that we could go into, but yeah, really narrowing down, looking at your data, but it's really about learning, because so many organizations don't even know where to start. Amazing, digitally mature ones have already started this. So really, they already are looking at these things. It's really speaking to those that are just don't know where to start and not sure where, what will I even get out of it?
Mm-hmm. Right. And I think that data focus makes so much sense too, in terms of translating that into omnichannel marketing strategies. Right. So if you've got those spark points, and you can have systems that can easily be tested, right, where there are different cadences and sequences of messages that are used across different channels, right? You could easily see different patterns, perhaps using AI, that could be concluded from larger data sets about, let's use email and direct mail together as an example. Right. So maybe there's a sequence of touches that are going out that, include emails with a particular data point or spark point that are overlaid with a series of different types of mailers. And then you've got another test going with a different set. The AI could be watching for performance, and then maybe drawing some conclusions that are not so obvious.
Yes.
Right. Because there's so much data underlying all of that.
And it's at every level, right? So like that, analysis of like bigger data sets and really focusing on, and it's also at, budget level, like where did we see the most success here? So any kind of data point, like here's all the emails we sent out, here's what the subjects were, here's how they performed, where can we improve? Every single piece that your CRM or your spreadsheet, hopefully no one's on spreadsheets anymore. But anything that you can put in, you're going to get something out. And that's always going to help you.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's that crusade against spreadsheets that Postalytics is so focused on. Direct mail, as you know, has been driven off of spreadsheets for decades, and we're trying to change that. We're trying to make it a software and database driven thing that is connected into the tech stack, so that the data can be analyzed along with everything else.
It's a bit of a manual process when you don't have it built into your software. So there's a little plug, Postalytics.
Yeah. You got to get it in somehow. Well, Charly, this has been great. I really appreciate your time today and your expertise, your passion about this. I think it's a topic that's on everybody's mind right now. And so I think it's a great time that we're able to get together here and talk about the impact that AI is having and some of the ways that executives and teams can consider introducing it in a way that is safe and in a way that will kind of more organically let the team grow with it, right? That's what I love about what you were saying.
And, if I may get into a bigger piece of that admin and what people hate doing. I am seeing, because nonprofit is so dominated by women in the sector, there is a gender issue because we're seeing less women pick it up. And really, because of the emotional load, not in all households, but in many households, women take on a lot more there. So when they leave the door at the end, at the beginning of the day, maybe their battery is already at 70% because they've organized logistics and made sure that there's going to be meal planning for the week and making sure, all the different things that you really have to do in your household to keep up, those simple tasks can now be offloaded. All the vacation planning, you just say, here's our budget, here's our people, here's where we want to go, tell me the cheapest flights and where we can stay and what an itinerary would be for if we're interested in XYZ. Amazing. That is so much that you have to put into that. Of course, it's never going to be perfect, but then you get to do some things, and some people enjoy doing that, so you don't always have to do it. But meal planning, I have 2 kids, they hate this, one's allergic to this. Can you give me 1 week of meal planning and the groceries I need, and the exact portions, assuming I have all this, looking things. So there's just all those little things that help you leave the door in the beginning of the day that give you more energy. So really thinking about it, not just in the workplace, but really making sure that it's offloading some. And that's really addressing the entire burnout that we're really, really seeing in the industry. In the female-dominated sector, it's just exhausting. We also carry so much, there's so much going on in the U.S. and here, and as a citizen, worrying about I'll have full control of my body tomorrow. It's just that anything you can take off that's going to let you live a little bit easier, it's going to bring more to your work, and you're going to get the results. And that, deliver results on what you're passionate about is always going to make you feel great at the end of the day.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I think introducing it into your home life and looking for things that you can get off of your plate that are mundane and things you don't really want to be spending your time on, instead of sitting in your mind and taking up space and nagging at you, like, do this, make sure you do this. You're going to let everybody down if you don't do this, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Offload it and free up that space.
There's so much talk.
That's
and
great.
I do feel, because it's a very kind of tech bro sector. Part of that is really thinking about work. And we're not thinking about, how much we can take off our plate that maybe is just in the home and how much that can add to your work.
Yeah. Love it. Charly, it's been a real pleasure speaking today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on Print to Pixel. If our audience wanted to connect with you, what would be the best way for them to reach out? I
would love to connect with you on LinkedIn. Give me a shout. I always respond to all my messages. I have, really complex, amazing prompts I can share, and, some various reports. Check out digitaloutlookraport.org. We just put together HJC and our friends, various friends that help put it together. Put it out, and it's really great to look at. And it really looks at AI and how much more stress, the higher up you are in your organization, the more stressed you are about AI. And because people at the bottom are like, finally, something can help me. And the ones at the top are like, oh, how's this going to affect us? So it's really interesting to just look at all those little details and see where other people are coming from and how it can help your org.
Cool. So that's digitaloutlookraport.org, and Charly Jarrett, Charly Jarrett, on LinkedIn. Thank you again so much for joining us today. It's been a real pleasure speaking about AI and fundraising and nonprofits and all the kind of ways it can help solve stress in the organization and in the home. So really appreciate it. And everybody check out Charly online, and we will see you soon.